All right, people. We are here now with my favorite air conditioners, the Emerson Quiet series of the mid '70s to early 1980s, or mid 1980s if you want to count the darker style grill ones with the rotary compressors. Which this one here, actually, believe it or not, has a rotary compressor too. But I believe the rotaries with these ones were made. I want to say '82 or '83 when there was a shortage of recips. But I think some of the '70s models might have had rotaries in them too, if, like I said, if there was a shortage of recips. Generally, these series had AE compressors. Now, the one in my bedroom is from 1976. This one here, I'd say, probably a little bit later. I'm thinking early '80s, just because of the base pan color, and I'll show you that. I'll get to that in a minute. Being it has a rotary compressor, I'm going to fire it up now, and we'll let it build some head pressure. Try it on fan only first. Oh, why does that click on? That feels like constant run, but it's in the opposite direction. Hang on. That might be fan for fan. Click down for fan only. Okay. Again, extremely quiet units. These are I always say about the Emersons, they are 1960s era build quality. In the late '70s and early '80s, when most manufacturers, especially Fedders, as much as I'm a Fedders guy too, Fedders is near and dear to me. I love them, but only early '70s and before. Like that. Look at that. That's a real Fedders right there, or that. But anyway, we're getting off topic. Back to the Emerson here. Listen how quiet that is. And it's got the metallic speckled control plate. Normal, super. The vent actually works on there too, even though it's a pretty much useless feature. Put it on quiet, and let's hear it. I think by now I'd get this right every time. Now the compressors that Emerson used, I forget what brand it starts with an M, I think. Matashita or whatever. I don't really know or care to really pronounce it right, because I'm not a big fan of rotary compressors. But like General Electric, these ones are very good. I've actually never seen one fail before in one of these Emersons. So that built head pressure pretty quick. It's working pretty good. Let's see what the BTU is on it. 7,400. This decent capacity, 7.5 amps, 840 watts, just like these, but 1,400 BTUs higher. Put you down for a second. That's cold. Very good units. Love them. I am going to doctor it up a little bit. There's not much to do, but it needs an EQK tag. Probably redo the outer case on it. I'll try the new brighter first, see if I get the stains off. And if I can't get the stains off, then I'll paint it. I'm going to try to get this all the same color. Looks like somebody did drip some paint on it at one point. I'd say it's in great shape. It does need a drain hole mod, unless Kenny did it already. He might have. So I bought it off of. Yeah, let's put an EQK tag on it. But I feel like every Emerson Quiet Cool should have an EQK tag, especially now that I can make them. Base pan's pretty clean. I wonder why it's rattling now. That's the one thing with the rotaries, man. I wonder if I have it installed, if it would do that. Oh, that's just this. That's a simple fix. See, by factory, there's always foam back here, but the foam dry rots over time. So ignore that. If it's installed, you'll never hear it. Man, that's quiet. And these things will freeze a room out. The original filter is immaculate. So this is just a very example of a well-preserved piece of air conditioning history. And these things are actually relatively common yet for an old unit. There's still thousands upon thousands of them around throughout the country. The only place I haven't really seen any listed for sale or like in pictures is in the Midwest for some reason. I don't know if maybe in the Midwest the Emersons weren't sold or they weren't popular, but I know in the East and West Coast they are everywhere, with the exception of like Florida, Georgia, the southern states where most people have central air, or most of the old ones have been tired out a long time ago. But these things are all over PA, Jersey, New York, New England. They are everywhere. It's a shame the same thing can't be said for the EQK Dynamics, because I remember having this conversation with the one and only Dave many a times about how these things used to be everywhere. These things, when I was a kid growing up in Levittown, the big Dynamic series, they were everywhere. They were just like the modern day Frigidairs are now, where I'd say like one in at least every 10 houses had one. Those were the days. And I remember Ken Horan talking to me on Flickr back in the day about how when he was a kid growing up, there were mostly 40s, 50s, and early 60s units around everywhere. Can you imagine that? Yeah, minus that rattling rear grille, the thing sounds amazing. So Kenny, thank you for this one. I always said Emersons were the last phenomenal units, in my opinion. I mean, the GE Super Thrust hung around until 1987, as did the Quiet Air and Hot Point variations. But Emerson Quiet Cool died in 1992 when Fetters took it over. And they used some of Emerson's parts, but there was just generic, okay, moderately okay, basically garbage at the time, and now everything's garbage. Now those 90s Fetters look amazing in comparison to what's available now, but Fetters honestly was, as much as I love Fetters, I'm a Fetters guy. Fetters and Emerson mostly, Philco too, obviously, but Sears, basically anything old really, but I still have my preferences like everybody else. But yeah, Fetters were the first ones in the late 70s to cheap out when they started using their own cheap rotary compressors and plastic, making more parts out of plastic, just lighter weight. I know people bitch about these things because they're so heavy, but there's a reason they're so heavy. That's because they're built well, they're built right. Once they got real light and cheap in the 90s, like I'm talking about ACs in general in the late 90s, mid to late 90s, when everything really started getting bad, it was fucking horrible. I'd say the last company that make phenomenal, not this phenomenal, but like in the 90s, the last good ones, like of respectable quality, was honestly like Quasar, Panasonic, not General Electric, WCI, Way Consolidated Industries. That's pretty much about it. By the late 90s, early 2000s, everything was literally disposable, throwaway garbage. And now, don't even get me started on now. They have freaking air conditioners with the compressors run off VFDs. They're I guess they're efficient, but they don't have the longevity of this. They definitely don't have the design of this. And honestly, I think anybody could tell you, especially if you're married, looks matter too. They do, in my personal opinion. But then again, a lot of women like that freaking this kind of crap. They think it looks nicer. Not mine, thank God. All right. That being said, that's about all I got to say about this right now. It's pretty self-explanatory. We've all seen hundreds of these at this point. Great units. And before I go, did you guys ever look at the album cover for REO Speedwagon's Good Trouble album from 1982? If you haven't, take a look at it and listen to it while you're at it. It's a pretty good album, especially a title track. It's a pretty good rocker. Anyway, that being said, peace out. I'll be back with that big Westinghouse, medium Westinghouse, next.